Hello everyone and welcome back to Closet Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at Darksiders 3. This hack and slash action spectacle fighter promises fun combat and stunning locations in a mystical post-apocalyptic world. Whether it can deliver on this promise is the question we will try to answer today. Darksiders 3 is available on Steam for €59.99, their regional equivalent. So, a hack and slash spectacle fighter in a pretty well acclaimed series. There's not much that should go wrong here, right? Sadly, there is a lot that could and went wrong with Darksiders 3. And even though I haven't played the previous installments that are praised by many to this day, even I can see some of the things that are wrong with this game. And sadly, we will have to begin with the part that suffers the most, the gameplay. Darksiders 3 was supposed to be a nostalgic trip into the past, with simple mechanics that allow you to do cool things without the need to overcomplicate everything. And well, honestly, they did manage to take a very simplistic approach to the gameplay, but one that is not fun. Thus, let's take a look at my biggest gripe with the game, the combat. You play as Fury, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That should mean you are one hell of a fighter with many different moves to get used to obliterate your enemies, right? Gunfire Games and THQ Nordic seem to disagree. You get a whip and just a button smash hoping everything around you dies. Technically, there are different combos in the game, but you know how you perform them? By smashing the attack button. Yes, that is all. Different attacks are based on how many times you click that one button. The only way to perform one of the extra types of attacks is to either be in the air while attacking, and trust me, that's not super useful, or to use your special ability. And you do have a few different types of special abilities, but you can't chain them or anything like that because those are tied to different forms and each of them uses the same exact resource. So if you use your special flame form, you can't use your special OP attack, no sir. And apart from smashing that one attack button, you will be smashing the dodge button. It's obvious that Darksiders 3 took inspiration from the Dark Souls series, where you evading attack is the key to winning. And the key to winning battles in Darksiders 3 is exactly the same. But the problem is, the dodge feels incredibly unresponsive, and half of the time you'll dodge only to be hit by the same attack you dodged. And even more fun, when you engage battle with multiple foes at once, there's a good chance you'll dodge right into an attack of another foe. That is just simply not fun. And honestly, that's pretty much all there is to the combat. You don't have any cool spells, even though the game calls you a mage. Your combos are boring and your defensive tool is just unresponsive. Now that alone would make the combat mediocre at best. But add to that the fact that enemies level scale with you, and thus the weak mobs, even the weak mobs, are a serious threat to you that makes the combat feel incredibly slow and just atrocious, to be honest. Often you will find yourself in situations where if you are fighting more enemies at once, that you'll get hit, that will stop your attack, you get hit again and again and again, only to die in a matter of seconds without really having a chance to get out of that. The only truly fun encounters are the bosses. Those are actually fun and decently creative fights, but there is only a few of them and they have their own problem. As bosses, there is a good chance you'll have to repeat them a few times, as you'll likely just die to the abilities you're familiar with. So what happens when you die? You have to run back to the boss, often for minutes at times, through areas with respawning enemies that you have to fight over and over and over again for no real gain. Why would you force your players to do that? Okay, that's the combat, and I honestly don't want to talk about it anymore. It's just not good. So let's instead talk about the tiny bit of a progression system that can be found in Darksiders 3. As this is an RPG, you get to level up. And again, similar to Dark Souls, you do this by collecting souls. These can be given to this one demon who will give you level up points in exchange. So what exactly can you upgrade? Maybe you finally get a few cool abilities here. You get to upgrade your health, melee damage, and magic damage. That's all. That's probably the lamest excuse for a progression system I ever saw. But wait! There is more systems to get your character more powerful. You can also upgrade your weapons, either directly enhancing their damage or adding a gem into them that upgrades their stats. Seriously, was the part of the team that adds cool stuff to the progression system all at lunch when design was happening, and when they came back nobody asked them for more input? What the heck happened there? And lastly, puzzles. For reasons I personally never understood, hack and slash spectacle fighters tend to put in puzzles for you to solve, and the same can be said about Darksiders 3. And similarly to everything we talked about until this point, they are just not fun. They consist of dumb little small mechanics that are insanely badly explained. Like this one, where the game wants you to feed a bug some lava and then throw him at a wall. But nothing ever tells you the bug eats lava, thus you result to just randomly throwing the bug around until you throw him close to the lava and he finally eats it. So, Darksiders 3's gameplay is mediocre. Painfully mediocre. My complaints may sound like the game is just abysmal, but that's not really the case. It's just not fun. Stuff works and you will get stuff done, but you're not gonna be excited while doing it. Everything is gonna feel like a grind, and please give better explanations to how mechanics works for puzzles in the future. Okay, moving on to the story, which is honestly probably the best thing about Darksiders 3. You are Fury, one of the 4 horsemen, and you have been tasked to go to Earth to bring balance to the apocalypse. And the story is presented in good visual ways, with short cutscenes that don't last too long, but do provide a sense of actually doing something important. Good job here, and the story will likely end up being the reason why you finish this game, especially if you did play the previous games in the series. Next up, the graphics. And here, I'm actually really split. On one hand, the graphics could really use higher resolution textures, and sometimes they do act a bit funky. But on the other hand, I do really like the style. The combination of angelic, demonic, fantasy, and post-apocalyptic graphics is something I think looks really cool. And the 7 deadly sins, the bosses, are amazing in design. But then, Fury herself looks like she was made from wax, and you'll spend a lot of time looking at her. Then there's the music, or for the most part a lack of it. I just felt like I haven't really heard anything in terms of the music when I played. There is some good music in the menus, but once you go into the game, mostly you'll hear just the sound effects. And those are good, even great I'd say, but the lack of a music score just, I don't know. It almost feels like the game has no soul because of it. And lastly, the performance. And even here, I cannot be critical. I've experienced crashes and severe frame drops. Not good. Not good at all. So, in conclusion, Darksiders 3 fails to meet expectations. It's a mediocre game at best that is asking full price. There are better spectacle fighters, and there are better hack and slash games available on lower prices. The only reason you should pick this up if you truly want to experience the story yourself. But if you just want to know the story, just watch someone play the game instead of you being forced to do so. If this was a $20 game, I think I'd give it a recommendation. But coming at $60? No way. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you liked the review, and if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. and comment if you have anything you would like to add. See you guys later with more gaming content.